In this video, we want to develop a rule that will help students to retain the correct sign after they divide or multiply integers or any signed numbers. The problem is students always struggle with retaining or putting the correct sign to a quotient or a product after they divide or multiply integers. This strategy is going to use a white chip to represent a positive sign and a red chip to represent a negative sign. The goal of this video is to learn or develop a strategy that will help you to retain the correct sign to your quotient or your product. Let's start with the quotient, which will be the division. Now, 10 divided by 5. This first one is a fundamental which helps us to understand that if we have 10 divided by 5, that means we want 10 white chips in this box. So we have our 10 white chips. This is the basics of division. But again, the goal is not to divide, but to retain the correct sign. So now we have 10 white chips. To divide these 10 white chips to 5 people, then one person can get 2 white chips. So one person is getting 2 white chips. But then a white chip is a positive number. So that is how I know that I will have to retain a positive 2. The second one, I am dividing negative 10 to 5 people. All right, remember our negative here represents a red chip. So I am no longer dividing white chips. I am dividing red chips. Each person can get 2 red chips, okay? So this is how this strategy helps us to understand that we can retain the sign by understanding that if we're dividing red chips, then they get red chips, okay? So the answer is negative 2. This is where you want to pay attention. We have our 10 red chips there, but this time we're dividing by negative 5. Okay, so we're dividing by negative 5. This is where the weird stuff comes in. We don't divide by negative numbers because dividing by a negative number, from the concept of a negative number, that means you are owing. Do you divide to negative people? Who is negative people? That is not realistic. So what this negative does is that it turns around. It flips the chips around. Okay, so you're dividing negative 10 chips to negative 5 people. So there's no negative 5 people. So it reverses the chips. Okay, so the negative 5 at the denominator will reverse the chips. The negative 10 chips will reverse them. Okay, so they can divide. It will reverse them so they can divide. So now you have, it now becomes 10 white chips divided to 5 people, and you will get, each person will get 2 white chips now, not red anymore. Okay, the weird stuff is here. Okay, so now they're getting 2, positive 2. They're getting white chips now because this negative at the denominator reversed the chips. Okay, so a negative at the denominator will reverse the chips. Now, the last problem, we have 10 white chips. This 10 at the numerator is positive. Okay, the 10 is positive. So we have our 10 white chips right there. We want to divide to negative 5 people. Again, negative 5 people. Who is negative 5 people? We know about 5 people, not negative 5 people. So this negative will reverse the chips. Okay, so these are 10 white chips, which represent this positive 10 at the numerator. But this negative 5 at the denominator will reverse the chips so they can divide. So it will reverse the chips. It will reverse them. It will flip them. It flips the chips. So the chips are flipped. Now When the chips are flipped, these are now negative chips. So negative 2. Okay? All right, so you can build a concept on that. Okay, let's go to multiplication. The first problem says negative 2 times 3. So when you see parentheses with a number in front of the parentheses and there is no plus or minus sign between the parentheses and this number, it means multiply. So negative 2 times 3. So our negative chips are red. So we need 2 red chips. Okay? Multiplying makes number bigger. So times 3 means add more red chips until we have 3 groups of the 2 red chips. Okay, so these were negative 2 red chips. Times 3 means make them 3 groups, make them 3 groups of red chips. So now we have 3 groups of red chips, and so we have red chips. It didn't change, so we have red chips. So how many red chips do we now have? 6. So remember, a red chip is a negative, so negative 6. Okay. All right, now here we have positive 2. Positive 2 means 2 white chips. Now we're multiplying by a negative 3. 2 white chips multiplied by negative 3. So you are not multiplying them by 3, you are multiplying them by negative 3. That means the negative means that flip the other side before you make 3 groups of them. So that negative flips it, then make 3 groups of the flip. So I'll bring in 2 more groups so that I have 3 groups. So now I do have 6 chips, but they are no longer the white chips that I started with because this negative has flipped them. Because the negative means turn the other side of it before you make them, many of them, before you make 3 groups of them. So now I have negative 6 again. Number 3, negative 2 times negative 3. Negative 2 times negative 3. So negative 2 means 2 red chips. I want to multiply by negative 3. What will a negative do? The negative will flip the chips before making 3 groups of them. So there were negative 2, there were 2 red. So times negative 3. So this negative on the 3 flips them. So that negative flips them and then makes 3 groups of the white ones. So we want 3 groups now of the 2s. So these are 1, 2, 3 groups of 2s. The negative flip them to the white. So now the answer is we now have 6, but 6 positives, not 6 negatives anymore. So positive 6. And positive 6 is also just the same as 6. Okay, the last problem we have positive 2, okay, 2 white chips times 3. The 3 is positive as well. So this is the easy one. Positive 2 times 3. Make 3 groups of these 2. So I got them. 1, 2, 3 groups. So positive 6.